Ladies and gentlemen, it's Moses and welcome to Build Curious. And for today's video, we are in Tartosa, where we're going to be creating a wedding venue. My biggest reason for choosing a wedding venue is because I really wanted to go and make this old style church building. And I think obviously the wedding venue is probably the best suited to do something for that. But as always, before we begin, remember to leave a comment if there's anything that you would like to see in the future. Or feel free to let me know your thoughts on today's build. So we're actually here where the previous wedding venue used to be, and I've removed it and we're going to go and create our own. I'm not 100% sure how appropriate this area is for the type of church we want to build, but I think it looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and do it anyways. And as always, before we begin, we're going to go ahead and box out a basic shape for our structure. And in this case, we're going to try to stick to something that will still give us that familiar old school church vibe or feeling. Kind of like a cathedral, but let's see what happens. This is kind of what we've got so far, although I think I'm probably going to go and change like these arches on the side, something that you'd generally see in, I think, one of those like big Gothic churches. And as cool as they are, and I think I could make it work, I was kind of playing around with different styles to see what might work. And it doesn't look bad. It's not that it looks bad, but it's just it kind of just feels like this church isn't big enough to justify arches like this. So it just kind of looks a little misplaced. So I think what I'll do is remove them and kind of work something else out. But I would really like to have a decent amount of detail because of course we don't want this to be boring. It's got to kind of be like this really elaborate structure, at least to a degree. So I'm going to keep workshopping and see if we can get something a little bit better. We are just about getting there. I did in between recording actually go and get that like castle pack. I never had it before because I was like, I'm never gonna build castles. It's not my thing. But as I was building this church, I realized, you know what, some of the things from that pack might actually be helpful, like these windows, which aren't exactly what I was hoping for. I prefer the stained glass pattern on these windows, kind of, not really. I do like the pattern on these windows. They look nice. I just wish the crest wasn't there. And I wish there was a little bit more options. There's not really much. The rest is all just kind of regular windows, which is kind of sucky because initially when I had the idea to build this place, I was listening to a really cool worship song, and there was this background of these stained glass windows. And I really had something like that in mind for this place. But unfortunately, these will just have to do. But I think it's looking pretty cool. I think we're getting there. We're close. I'm quite unhappy about certain things, so then it takes me a long time to fix it. But, anyways, you might have noticed that this building is not symmetrical. And we've kind of left this spot open on the side because I realized like we have space for the venue inside, right? The aisle and all that good stuff, chairs on the sides, but we don't really have like a place for dinners or like eating, lots of tables and things like that. So I thought that would be kind of like an outside thing. So this is what we've got so far. I don't know if I'm done yet. I'll probably just do a quick double check and then I think we can get started on the inside of the building. So I think before we stress too much about the exterior of the building, perhaps it is a good time that we start with the interior. I think one of the challenges is going to be figuring out exactly what wallpaper to use, what floors to use, because this all kind of depends on the style we really want to go for. Because there's, as I've noticed, a big difference between like Gothic and like that Byzantine or whatever that was called. The ones like kind of just stone, and the other ones like this really heavily, I don't know, tiled and painted aesthetic. But we're gonna have to see what translates best into Sims, right? Because that's always the challenge. What translates into the Sims. Our other challenge is going to be figuring out how to get some stairs in this place. Because I want to get some stairs that go to the top floor here so that we can have some toilet facilities or something like that at the top, because we're going to need that somewhere on the lot. And I think up here is perhaps a good idea. I might extend the balcony a bit, like just on the sides, going down like that. I'm not so sure just yet. I'll kind of play around as we go. So, without any further ado, let us see what we can do. So, I don't think it turned out too poorly. I think it kind of looks a little cool. I tried to do the whole Byzantine thing, and it's a little bit challenging, but this kind of works for me. The only thing I'm really concerned about is like the windows seem a bit like they're just floating, up against the white wall. And the floor tiles don't exactly match, but it's really hard to find the right floor tiles to go with this look, and that I think are still appropriate to a church like this, or a cathedral, or whatever. I didn't want to make the whole thing wood either, because I think wood would be kind of easy. Boom, there we go, nothing's clashing, but that's a little bit boring and I don't think accurate either. So this is what we've got for now. I'm going to just keep it as is and go with it. And we'll see what we can do, as we go along with furniture and things like that. And the entire time while I was busy doing this interior, it's so stupid, but I had that song stuck in my head, just like playing over and over again from Step Brothers, where they are at the Catalina wine mixer and he's singing that like opera type song. So dumb, but yeah, it was just on repeat. But, anyways, besides a few touch ups here and there, like maybe a couple of pillars and arch or something, I think for the most part it's finished. We still have to decide what to do on this side here. But I think what I will do is start with the furniture on the interior here. And then maybe that will give me a better idea of what we should do on the outside. I don't know. This is maybe a weird way of going about it, but hopefully it gets me to where I want to go. So let's see what we can do about this interior. And as all builds do, I believe this one has also just come to an end. So we have finally finished all of the things that I set out to do. It's not quite as I had hoped. It didn't translate exactly the way I had imagined in my mind, probably just because I don't have enough skill. But I'm surprised with the exterior. It looks quite nice, better than I expected. And in the sunset, man, look at this place. Pretty cool. This outside area turned out a lot better than I had expected it to be. I was a bit concerned with like just doing outdoor decor. Like that's kind of not something I generally do. And the times I think that I have done it, it just didn't look so well. Anyways, so here we've got everything outside. You've seen it in the little time lapse. So some of the things that I didn't show in the time lapse is inside. So that's going to be our bathroom at the back here. So it was really nothing special, just a couple of stalls and a little basin area, and then our little stair area. So one thing that kind of grated my gears a lot was the color of the lighting, and just the lighting itself in general in the Sims. I find it's just atrocious. I couldn't change it because there's not a sim on the lot. And if they're allowed to change it once they are here, I'll see what I can do then. But for now, like everything's really yellow, a bit too yellow. And that was the other thing I really struggled with this build, was trying not to use like regular lighting, but candles instead. And that's actually so hard. But I think in the end, I can't complain too much. It looks quite all right. And of course, I believe that we have everything needed for our wedding venue, right? We've got the runway, the arch. The piano is not necessary, but I just thought, or the organ, I just thought it would be nice. I mean, it realistically speaking, there's probably an organ somewhere. I was going to put it up here initially, but yeah, that wouldn't work out. So we just have it on the stage over there. We got a spot for the cake over here, like to cut the wedding cake, and then just like a little fountain with a buffet table if needed. But there are three of them outside, so you can fill these up with meals. There's a little champagne thing so they can have drinks and toast, and of course, the tables where they can eat. There's a dance floor, and there's also, so I thought live music would be a lot cooler than just putting a stereo on. But to be honest, at this moment, I'm not sure if that's possible. Again, I'm going to test it when I actually bring a few Sims in here. But I think live music would be a lot cooler. But just in case that doesn't work, these do act as speakers, right? The amp stack. So there will at least be a way to have music regardless. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it for our build today. This style and this type of build was definitely something that was out of my comfort zone. I think there's still a lot of things that I can improve, but unfortunately, that is all that we have time for. Nonetheless, don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like and leave a comment. I really hope that you all enjoyed this video, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. This is Moses, getting ready to bounce.